How does your miscommunication with your Filipino parent, how could that affect your own parenting with your own children? When I say miscommunication, at least in this definition, I'm talking about if you feel in general, maybe misunderstood, maybe you just don't have good communication with your a parent or your parents. Maybe you don't feel listened to in general, or there's a misattunement, basically missing each other's cues, but especially you became an expert as a child, listening to what would please your parents rather than parents learning also. It's a symbiotic process, but it's first the responsibility of the parent to learn to attune to their baby, to their child. So sometimes when children learn to attune to their parents first, they are very poor. They grow up being poor, attuning to their own bodies. So I'll talk about every struggle. You can come out of any struggle with a strength. I'll talk about that later on. But let's talk about the potential effects of your miscommunication with your Filipino parent. First, you can become the very thing that you despise. Let's say your parent is misattuned to you. There are researches where generationally, if you don't change anything, it's like a chain. It makes sense, right? Because that's what you observe, that's your modeling, that's what you've experienced. Without you changing anything, it would make sense. And of course, this is just one gateway. Not everybody becomes this way. If you don't change anything, one effect is that you become the very type of parent that you despise. The second one is, I think, more common, is that you become the opposite because you hate so much how you were parented. You never want your children to experience what you've experienced. And so you become very permissive. Some parents have a difficult time saying no to their children if their parents were super, super strict. They are just like, yeah, go for it. So that's one possible effect. And that type of parenting, when it comes from a place of fear, the fear of not wanting to be that type of parent, generates also a dilemma. And I see this often when you feel that that's your only choice to be the opposite, you are not free, my friend. Real freedom is you are when the intention, when the intention of that is not based on fear. It is the feeling of or knowing that now you can choose. So if you could be either way or somewhere in between, that's when you know you are free. But if you are, some people might just be more permissive out of their choice, even when they're very mindful of their own parenting, but they can choose, they could be either way. That's different to when that's the only way that you can be. So that's the second one. So you become what you despise, you become the opposite. The third one, parenting can be very stressful for you, a very stressful experience. You may become a very controlling parent because you have an idea of what a parent should be, the very parent that you probably didn't get to experience. So there's a lot of sometimes you have this idea, and as you know, I'm a parent. You have an idea, you have a plan, it doesn't always go that way. So sometimes that creates guilt and shame. And that's also coming from a place of fear. You're controlling it so that you won't be a certain way. I don't want to be that parent. So it's very similar to the first two. Just remember, these are just potential. Okay. One, I shouldn't say one, but any struggle can be turned into something positive or something useful. And by the way, there's an inner child 5-day prompts that you can use for journaling. It's free. I'll link that It's called inner child because that's part of it. As parents, we want to kind of heal, nurture parts of us that were not nurtured when we were children, so that as parents we could nurture that part of us and then our children. If you're not a parent, yes, I mean, there's many different ways that you are um, a leader. Like a parent is a leader in the household, whether it's with your work, maybe you're mentoring other adults, other children. To me, just any type of leadership positioning. So um, you become okay. First of all, the struggle I'm talking about. So the strength about this when you are mindful, you've healed yourself, you did some work, maybe you did some therapy, maybe some other ways to heal, is that you become a better person and thereby a better parent. So that's when you have turned your struggle to strength. So I hope this has been helpful. Don't forget, I'll link the 5-day inner child prompt. It's free. It's a creative way of expressing your deep woundings as children. We all have that. I hope you have been well. This is Roanne Digia Samos, licensed psychotherapist. Ingat!